Fast hour number one back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio, coming at you as I love to do every weekday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over here, which is Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. 888 Mad Dog 6 is the number to call. That's 888-623-3646. Any second now, we'll have the insider extraordinaire for ESPN on the line with us, sure to encapsulate all that's going on during NBA free agency, the one and only Sharpe. He's with us right now. What's going on, Big Time? How are you? Sharpe on the show right now. What's up, Big Time? How are you doing? How's everything?
Say, what's going on? Always a pleasure joining you. Appreciate you always.
So now that you've had a few days to reflect on LeBron James and this decision to go to Philadelphia, talk about how that has impacted the landscape of the NBA. I'm talking about according to officials, according to players, because you speak to all of them. What has it been like for you since LeBron decided to take his talents to Philadelphia?
I mean, there's no doubt it's a complete game changer. I think it sets Philadelphia up to be, obviously, they're going to get a ton of national TV games, probably the most in the league, the most exposure. They become the most fascinating storyline in the NBA because of Jaylen Brown, because of LeBron James, what those two guys entail. Two former finals MVPs joining an organization in an offseason. That's never happened in NBA history. So that alone in and of itself sets precedent in the league. And you have a team that already has Tyrese Maxey. You have Joel Embiid. There are going to be questions about this team, no doubt. But I think, when you get Jaylen Brown, it puts you on the map. It puts you on the radar. It did for LeBron James and his decision-making process. But now that LeBron James actually goes and commits there over at Cleveland, over at Miami, over at Golden State, it puts them in a legitimate conversation. And everyone in Philadelphia now feels like they have a chance to win a championship. And that's not something you could have said before the start of the offseason. That's not something that other teams and players felt before they got Jaylen Brown or LeBron James. But now you get Jaylen Brown, and then about 22 days later, you get the commitment from LeBron James. And so I think when I talk to teams, when I talk to other players around the league, they know Philadelphia is real if this team can mesh and put it all together.
What about Jaylen Brown himself? I mean, he had an MVP caliber year, averaged over 28 a game, an absolute stud in the NBA. We all know this to be true. In the same breath, he wasn't satisfied because he wanted to be the number one option. And with Jason Tatum there in Boston, that is clearly a decision that the Boston Celtics have made a long time ago that simply wasn't going to happen. So he goes to Philadelphia, and we know he was going to have to share the wealth with Tyrese Maxey. Now they're saying he's going to have to share it with LeBron James. What role, if any, did he play in convincing LeBron James to come to Philadelphia, and how receptive has he come across as somebody that's going to have LeBron James as his teammate?
I feel like Jaylen Brown his whole career, he's been looked at as a guy that's had a chip on his shoulder, motivation. He's always been doubted at different points. But the one thing that he's always done, he's won. He's won at a really, really high clip, regular season, playoff success. And whenever there were any issues that behind the scenes were talked about between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in Boston, the one thing I heard consistently from the Celtics was very simple. When they're on the court together, they win. All they do is win. And you can't doubt that, the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown tenure in Boston. And so now when you think about him going to Philadelphia, this isn't somewhere where he asked to be traded to. He got traded. And I think since that trade's happened, he's embraced being in Philly. He's embraced playing as kind of that elder statesman, that champion, that guy that's proven that he's won to a Tyrese Maxey and a VJ Edgecombe. And I know when the Sixers went out and got Jaylen Brown, the big thing was, okay, we have a guy that's been there, done that, won at a high level. Now he can help teach Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe and be a leader. And both of those guys want to be in a position where they're taking guidance, but also having that back and forth, because Tyrese Maxey is the face of this franchise, right? He's been the guy the last year or so since Joel Embiid's been in and out of the lineup and things have happened with Joel. And so now you're adding the LeBron James dynamic to all this, and Jaylen Brown was 100% supportive of this move of getting LeBron James. To my knowledge, those two guys didn't speak during the process, but Jaylen Brown did have communication with Rich Paul during the process to let Rich Paul know that, hey, I want LeBron here. This is someone I want to play with. And so those guys will eventually have their own conversation, LeBron and Jaylen will, and get on the same page. There will be plenty of opportunity for them to do so. But I think the big thing that I hear around the Sixers organization right now is sacrifice. And when you think about scoring, you look at Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, on any given night, 1A, 1B. Joel Embiid is right up there as well, 1A, 1B, 1C. Either of those guys can lead this team in scoring on any given night. VJ Edgecombe can be a breakout star on any given night. And then you look at LeBron James in a lot of ways just setting the table for everyone. The one year that he played point guard in 2019-20, the Lakers won a championship. He was arguably the best point guard in the NBA. And I do expect him to play a significant time as that initiator, the game manager, the point guard of this team that sets the table for a Tyrese Maxey, a Jaylen Brown, and a Joel Embiid, and a VJ Edgecombe.
Sharpe right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. I'm hearing that the Miami Heat were a bit salty that LeBron James didn't select them. That's what we're hearing. I don't know what truth there is to those reports. What can you tell us about Miami and how they're feeling now that LeBron has decided not to bring his talents to South Beach?
Well, both Miami and Cleveland, I think, felt like they had a great shot at LeBron James, and both of those teams were the legacy plays, right? Like LeBron James never wearing another jersey in his career besides Cleveland, Miami, and the Lakers. That was obviously the thought process throughout free agency and around the league at different points. But LeBron, from the outset of the process, was very clear. I want to go somewhere where I feel like I have the best chance to win a championship. I feel fulfilled on a happiness level, and that comes from competing and being a part of going into the locker room. Now, we don't know if the Sixers are going to win it all this year, right? But I think LeBron James and that organization, they feel like they can start the year, start training camp with a legitimate hope and a legitimate aspiration that this team can win it all. And he felt above Cleveland, above Miami, Philadelphia gave him that shot, even if it might not be, a breakaway, right? Like, it's not a given that the Sixers are head and shoulders above Cleveland and Miami. Cleveland was just the Eastern Conference finalists this past year, but he felt like that was their best shot. And I think Cleveland and Miami, they were the legacy plays, but this is now a different type of legacy that LeBron wanted to lean on. And, now Miami's got to move on. Cleveland has to move on. They both definitely felt like they had a shot. I don't think my understanding is neither felt like they had it done at any point.
Is it time to start really? I mean, do we have to play this game of denial, or is he willing to admit, if I get 5, I pass Steph and I tie Magic, Kobe, Duncan with 5 chips. If I win back-to-back titles to end my career, I will have won with 4 different teams. Nobody has ever done that. And I would have tied MJ for 6 rings all time in my career. I believe that was a factor. Is this something that his camp is willing to admit, or are we still in that world where they want to deny the obvious?
I say it's always about the chips. It's always about the rings, and there's no doubt LeBron is playing for a different legacy, and the legacy being the only player in NBA history to win a championship with 4 different teams. And this is kind of, he's playing on borrowed time, right? Like, a player has never gone into a 23rd season, much less a 24th and 25th season. So it's like he's playing with some spare change here where he can see, like, what can I do? Even if I'm a starter, a high-level contributor, a high-level player to this, there's a very good chance if the Sixers win a championship, Tyrese Maxey or Jaylen Brown or Joel Embiid have just as good, if not a better shot at winning Finals MVP, right? That's just because they're younger, they're more spry, their prowess for scoring is up there, they're in their prime, ready to go. And so, but to be playing in seasons that have never been seen in the NBA, 23 has already happened. Now he's at 24 and 25. To say you are even a number 3 or number 2 or 4 or whatever the ranking is you want to put him as an option, to be able to be in that top 3-4 option and potentially lead a championship, that has to be something in the cap of LeBron James when you think about his legacy. There's no doubt. So, going to Cleveland, Miami, those are legacy plays, right? Because you're ending your career where you potentially started in Cleveland or where you were before you won rings. You're not playing in another jersey besides those 3. But now it is a different form of legacy. And if you can lead to a championship in Philly after 40-plus years, after you broke the drought in Cleveland, 50-plus years, there has to be something said about that, no question.
Where does he go from here? Because he's entering the last year of a deal. Obviously, he's eligible to sign like a 2-year, $136 million, $146 million deal, somewhere in that range, if I remember correctly. I can't imagine him ever leaving Golden State. Doesn't need to. 4-time champion, 2-time league MVP, universally recognized the greatest shooter God ever created. I mean, his legacy is cemented. But with Jimmy Butler suffering his injury, with Moses Moody suffering his injury, with LeBron James electing not to come there, I don't know what the future holds for him, because we know that the future doesn't hold a championship, a legitimate championship aspiration for the Golden State Warriors. Where does that leave Steph Curry right now?
Well, on a personal level, Stephen Curry, I fully expect there to be contract extension talks come eligible when he's eligible. I believe it's in late August. They're going to discuss an extension, whether it's a 1-year or a 2-year extension that he's eligible for. They're going to give him one if he wants one. To my knowledge, I think there's going to be a desire on his part too. So there's mutual interest there. I think Stephen Curry understands with this organization that they're at a crossroads. They've gone after a bunch of stars over the years.